5 Minutes with Max is filmed before a live studio audience.
5 minutes, 5 minutes, 5 minutes with Max. Oh man, running through the Red Sea, being chased by Pharaoh's army is exhausting. I don't think I could do it back then. I just tried just now and it really took the breath away. I was sprinting and all that all the time when things are right behind you and they're moving slowly like they're in slow motion. Yeah, well, that was just happening. You might be asking yourself, how do things just happen to become slow motion? Well, like someone always told me, if it's cool enough, it will happen. Anyway, we're now here. We're in the desert with Moses. We are going to be talking about, I'm kind of wet still, if you can see, just ocean spray, not a big deal. We're going to be talking about we're going to be talking about the new covenant that is coming about through Moses and through God. It's kind of a different covenant, actually.
How new is it?
Well, it's not the new covenant, but it is a newer covenant than the one from Abraham.
That sounds nice.
Yes. Well, kind of nice. It's a different kind of covenant because it's kind of one of the only covenants where God is telling us to do, like, this is what we're doing. And there's not really anything, he's not promising really anything in return other than the creating of the priesthood of the Jewish religion that would carry on the laws that God puts in place for a long period of time. Now, you guys are probably familiar with these laws, and we'll get to those. But so essentially, what happens is Moses walks up to Mount Sinai and says, and God tells him, "These are my commandments." What are these commandments? Well, you guys have probably heard of them. They're like the 10 Commandments. Things like don't make false idols, love thy neighbor, don't use God's name in vain, don't curse.
Murder!
Probably shouldn't murder. That's probably in there. I'm not quite sure. Maybe you guys could correct me on that one. But yeah, so God creates these laws for us to follow, and these laws as basis laws for the priesthood for Moses's essentially disciples as they go forth and bring about the tradition that God has instilled in the new Israelite population. Now these laws are not just, they are the gift that God gave us during this time. So if you think about our laws in the past, God promised Noah that he wouldn't destroy the world anymore, wouldn't bring about the destruction of humanity. He promised Abraham that his people would have land to live on, that they would be kings and queens of land going forward. We haven't actually fulfilled that covenant yet because we haven't actually found the promised land yet. We're still stuck in the middle of the desert with Moses right now. And then he comes to Moses and he says, "Moses, I promise you, these are the laws that you need to obey." Kind of a different way that sounds, right? So these are the laws, right? God promises us laws. Now these laws are good, right? They help us, they create a moral standard. They help to create a way that the Israelites should act and interact with them so that they could have a flourishing and successful community, rather than not having a moral standard to base themselves off. Otherwise, they're just left to their own depraved and sinful ways. and the covenants are hard to follow. They're not always easy, but that's not. But God is still calling us to follow these in this moment. Now, you guys may have noticed last week that I was slightly over 5 minutes.
As you are now.
Well, guess what? I'm rebranding this to be up to and possibly more than 5 minutes with Max. So as we venture forth next week, high fives. All right. Later, Hill City Youth.